We're also going to have a very special guest, our friend, legendary football player and our brand ambassador, Luís Figo.
To play a World Cup is always a dream for any football player. For one who is patriot like me, it's very important. Same time to represent 11 million of persons that are behind of our nation.
Was it a little bit different acting as a captain?
I think you have to be example for everyone.
World Cup is not only about what's happening on the pitch, but it is also about the fans' experience.
For technology providers, it is very critical that we actually capture and correctly represent to the fans and to everyone who is actually using our sportsbook.
Current AI automation that we have in the sportsbook can be a great recommendation for the players as well, so it's easier for them to follow everything with the AI.
How important is personalization when it comes to engaging players during such a high traffic tournament?
Within our sportsbook, we have full capability of localizing content for a player.
Players can actually also feel the presence of the World Cup tournament, on their phones. If your sportsbook is not fast enough, reliable enough for the information that the players see, they will actually opt out for different, let's say, sources.
But one of the recent things that we have came up with, and this is very exclusive feature and only our partners have, is auto bet functionality.
We can proudly say that Digitain is ensuring highest level of technical stability and zero downtime during any tournament, especially World Cup. Hi everyone, I'm Mkrtchyan, Chief Sales Officer of Digitain. Welcome back to Digitain podcast series, We Talk Business. Today's episode is particularly a special one because we're going to discuss not only a very interesting topic, but we're also going to have a very special guest together with us today. So today's episode is going to be co-hosted by our friend, legendary football player and our brand ambassador, Luís Figo. Luís, welcome back. It's my pleasure to have you joining us back to our podcast series.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for the warm welcome, and it's always a pleasure to be together.
Thank you, Luís, and for anyone who may not know, Luís has participated to multiple times to World Cup, and in particular in 2006 with Luís' participation, Portugal's national teams has reached the semi-final by marking a significant story in Portugal's football history. So today's episode is going to be about World Cup. We are going to discuss Figo's experience at World Cup, Luís' remarkable journey at World Cup, but we also need to know that what is happening during World Cup at the pitch is not the whole scenario and the scene. One of the most important things I would say is what is happening behind the pitch, or in other way, behind the scenes. It's all about the fans' experience. And to discuss the fans' experience, I have invited my colleagues from Digitain today, Edmond Ghulyan, who is the Chief of Centrivo and Sportsbook Product, and Hmayak Arakelyan, who is Head of Sales for Eastern Europe. Gentlemen, they are not only professionals of their fields, but they are also great fans of football, and they are going to enjoy a lot, I believe, today's episode. Welcome, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Annie, and thanks for having us.
Hi, Annie, thank you for having us today.
Thank you. And Luís, a question to you. Let's look back at your World Cup's history, journey. What would you tell us about something remarkable, something that has been interesting for you that you would like to raise?
Well, I think to play a World Cup is always a dream for any football player to represent your own country, and is one of the biggest events in the world in terms of football, like Euros in Europe, of course. So for a football player to have the chance to represent your country is the maximum that you can achieve. And of course, I have the chance to play two World Cups. One in Korea, Japan was not so positive for Portugal because we didn't pass the phase of groups, and was not a good memory. But of course, to be there is always important for your country. And the other one in German was my last tournament for my national team, so was special. because it was the last one, and because we achieved the semifinals with a little bit more of luck, maybe we could play the final. But I think in the end, we have to be very, very happy for that generation, what we did for Portuguese football. And some special occasion, of course, all the moments to play with your jersey, national jersey, is very special. So for me, is very emotional to remember that.
Isn't it adding, let's say, much more responsibility on your shoulders when you wear the jersey of your national team? Because it's, of course, quite different from what you're doing for a club football. Is it adding more responsibility, or in other words, more pressure on your shoulders?
No, I don't think it's more responsibility or pressure, because when you play a high level, you always have to do the things well and represent the best as possible your clubs and the national team. Of course, is in other way is very, very special, because you defend the colors of all your nation, and for one who is patriot like me, so is very important and a honor. In the same time, to represent 11 million of persons that are behind of our nation. No?
Yeah, indeed, this 2006 World Cup was really a very remarkable one. And I believe, apart from responsibility, which you have rightfully mentioned, it's also about patriotism, the feeling to your country and towards your people. But somehow it is also about some sort of pressure, especially when you are acting as a captain for the team. Was it a little bit different acting as a captain?
Well, I think you have to be example for everyone. No, it's like I think your teammates see you like a leader or a captain, is because they have to follow not only myself, but I think is like example, and you have to give that example. You have to give that leadership. You have to give, of course, how to do it, how to follow. One goal to achieve everyone's goal. So I think for me it was more than a responsibility. That was a big honor to have the chance to be captain of my nation.
Thank you, Luís, for taking us through this journey. Of course, as I have already mentioned in my speech, World Cup is not only about what's happening on the pitch, but it is also about the fans' experience. That's why I have invited my colleagues from the company today also to discuss the fans' experience.
Yeah, so thank you for that. It's always special to go back to those moments, but listening to this, it really makes me think about how much the game has evolved. Back in our time, fans' experience at the World Cup is in a completely different way. So I'm curious to explore this a bit more from the technology part and product side. I want to bring to the conversation Edmond and Hmayak, and to ask them how do platforms like Digitain's Sportsbook bring the World Cup closer to fans and keep that excitement alive through the tournament.
Thank you for the question, Luís. In reality, the way Digitain and platforms like us, in the name of our Sportsbook, bring not only World Cup, or to discussing about World Cup, but all the excitement of all the events that are taking place basically to the fingertip of the players. So this is the most important question. This is the most important aspect. We have to understand, as Ani mentioned, whatever happens on the pitch and behind the scenes. So for technology providers, it is very critical that we actually capture and correctly represent to the fans and to everyone who is actually using our sportsbook the correct information. This information needs to be accurate, it needs to be real time, and this real time aspect of the information that we provide is what actually keeps players engaged. So that, I would say, is probably the most important criteria that we always look out for and we measure our success with as we progress and we develop new features and we add new functionalities to our sportsbook. So I would mention and highlight that particular aspect of our sportsbook.
Thank you, Luís, for the question. It's actually a very interesting question. Just to add of what Edmond is saying, I think I will go deeper into a bit of the product side, and from the product wise, like the features like we have like a sport live chat that keeps all the players engaged. When you open the match and then in the match you have a chat of the players like engaging with each other. I think this is a great addition where every player feels that they are in the match, they are a community with each other. So this kind of feature that Digitain is full of, they add a lot of value to the portfolio, and I think this helps a lot to keep all these players engaged.
And another question is about during these big competitions like World Cup, Champions League, Euros, is multiple matches happen at the same time during the group stage. How do you keep the fans engaged at the same time?
That's also a very interesting question, Luís. It's important. It goes back. We talked about the speed and real time and the accuracy. It goes to the second most important point. It's about the coverage. So we first of all aim to cover, again, when we're talking about the World Cup, obviously all the events that are taking place at the same time. So this is critical. The second aspect is how you actually deliver it to the players. So we're talking about the creative and state-of-the-art UI and user experience on our channels, be it mobile, desktop, native applications, recently launched, SSBTs. So this is important how you actually present it to the player, so they can actually find very easily the matches that are taking place right now. We all know that yes, there are fans, watching the games, from the stadium, but there are also the fans, who are following on different social media channels, on TVs, and also spending their time as leisure on and in our sportsbook. And from this perspective, it's actually very important for them to easily and quickly locate, follow, highlight, make the matches, events, markets favorite, to receive different notifications and updates on what is going on real time on those matches. So these are the ways we're trying to actually make our sportsbook as close as it can be to the real event, so the fans can actually feel the thrill of the World Cup events through the sportsbook that we provide.
I think Edmond covered most of the topics. A couple of those I wanted to say, but just to add that current AI automation that we have in the sportsbook can be a great recommendation for the players as well. So it's easier for them to follow everything with the AI, and with the AI recommending the matches that can be interesting for them. So it makes AI, with the AI, we try to make the sportsbook to feel more personalized to the players.
Very good. I think it's very important in these days to connect more fans and players and all the playmakers are in this industry. No?
Thank you, Luís.
So I have now a question to Ani and of course to all of you. Today fans, they engage with football in so many ways. No, how important is personalization when it comes to engaging players during such a high traffic tournament?
Basically, personalization is really very important, especially when it comes to our sports book. We do have AI-driven personalization engine, so that every player can experience, every fan can experience a very personalized experience during the World Cup, because every time he can go and he can get the recommendation of the matches, of the teams, of the clubs that he used to play on due to the AI. I believe this is one of the most remarkable features of our sportsbook, and makes it more personalized, localized for every player, making the experience even much more interesting and active during the World Cup, especially during such an event.
And now I'm curious, this is more for Hani. What are the biggest expectations from operators when preparing for a global tournament like this?
Well, obviously, the biggest expectations for the operators when they are getting ready for such a big tournament like the World Cup is first of all the technical reliability of their sportsbook provider, technical stability and safety of their sportsbook provider. With this, we can proudly say that Digitain is ensuring highest level of technical stability and zero downtime during any tournament, especially World Cup. Only after the technical scalability, safety, reliability, then the operators are looking for the robustness of the portfolio features and functionalities to ensure the ultimate player experience. So first of all, the insurance that they are not going to suffer from any technical problem, from any downtime, because you can understand this is the mega event of the year and their fans will never ever forgive them for any such problem or mistake. And of course, the portfolio features, functionalities for attracting the fans, for ensuring interesting experience throughout the whole journey.
And Edmond, what are some of the key features that become especially important during the World Cup for you?
Luís, to be honest, I think there are several that our sportsbook offers. As Ani mentioned, first and foremost, we concentrate on the robustness of the technology that we're using, because you and we all understand we are a B2B provider and we provide our sportsbook content and the services to a number of different operators. So robustness of the whole technology is number one. Number two, yes. We offer a number of different features which are not really specific to World Cup, but they add engagement, especially for tournaments, especially like World Cup. The first and foremost, I think we are going to launch something new for the World Cup, which is going to provide, I won't to disclose too much, but it's going to provide something very unique for the World Cup players, an area on our sportsbook, in our sportsbook, which is personalized and localized specifically for the World Cup, so the players can actually also feel the presence of the World Cup tournament, on their phones. That's number one. Number two, bringing actually what matters most to each individual player, which we talked about. It's about AI recommendation and just personalization of the content that the players receive. Number three, fine-tuning on all our channels, which we've already done and we're constantly working on, the content delivery and what we actually show to the player at any given time. So showing content that matters most, showing real-time updates of the odds, of the events, of what actually is taking place in the event on the pitch. Within less than a second, reflecting it on the devices of the player so they can actually follow, because that's one of the most critical aspects when it comes to sportsbook. So if your sportsbook is not fast enough, if your sportsbook is not reliable enough for the information that the players see, they will actually opt out for different, let's say, sources, different sportsbook, different channels, to follow and see what is happening. And the chat that Hmayak mentioned, live information that players can actually follow, which is our own proprietary software that we also offer within the game, are important, I would say, bits, to the whole sportsbook portfolio. Obviously, there are features like, group stage promotion, there are features like early payout, things like this that add to the thrill of the game. But the bottom line is how fast you are, and also when the players actually have the winnings, again, how fast you are when you're calculating, because you can imagine it's the time of the year where you have, really high traffic, and of course it depends on the match. But again, if we take World Cup as a tournament, during that period you have increased traffic, and it's very important that the increased traffic does not cause any, let's say, delays in any of the part of your software. So the players actually don't feel that. So that, I think, is the power of the sportsbook, and we can proudly say that we are fully prepared for the World Cup that is going to come this year, and we're actually waiting for it.
Yeah, of course. You always have to give amazing service to the players. Hmayak, if you were a fan watching the World Cup today, what feature would you personally enjoy the most?
I think Edmond gave very brief of what features we have. I can most probably talk around 1 more hour about those features. But one of the recent things that we have came up with, and this is a very exclusive feature and only our partners have, is auto bet functionality, where basically it gives a possibility for the professional punters who can follow the odds, and they say, oh, for this market you provide the odds 2.3, I think it's going to go up to 2.5, so they can auto bet this, and then when the odds will go to 2.5 it will be automatically placed. I think this is one of the best features that we have and we are offering to the market at the moment. And obviously cash outs, various types of the cash outs, definitely I will be taking part on these features.
Great. I promise this is my last question to all of you, to Ani. Ani, from your experience, what does a strong partnership between platform, Digitain and operator look like during a global tournament like this?
Thank you for the question, Luís. Actually, first of all, a constant dialogue between the operator and the provider is a must for successful operation. Listening to your partners, to operators' needs, to cater the needs for a specific market, first of all. Providing proper service. Service management is another very important vertical. Honestly, no matter it's during such a major event, such World Cup is, or just throughout the whole journey of cooperation. If we touch upon particularly World Cup, I would maybe add what I have already told and what my colleague Edmond has already mentioned about the technical reliability of the product, because they are heavily relying on us in terms of their sportsbook offering. And you can imagine, in the era of thousands of sportsbook providers, in order to be distinguished, you first of all need to be stable and reliable, first of all. Of course, innovation, I would say that even a couple of months before the World Cup, we are getting lots of requests and interest from our operator side, requesting and demanding lots of innovations. However, they are 100% sure that Digitain is committed to its vision and mission, going to surprise the operators and the players with new and innovative features and functionalities that Edmond has mentioned. And right now we are not opening the brackets. Innovations, of course, is something that they are looking for. And yeah, again, technical stability, proper service, and new innovative features and functionalities, because this is a journey that all fans are looking forward, and we need to make it in a safe one and at the same time unforgettable one.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your information and very clear answers.
Thank you, Luís. Gentlemen, I know how passionate you are, especially about talking about our sportsbook product as well as World Cup. And big thanks to Luís for taking us through his experience and journey of World Cup, this nostalgic moment of discussing the World Cup with your participation, especially the 2006 ones. So for our listeners, stay tuned. We are going to have many episodes covering different other topics. And for today, we can wrap up the session. Thank you so much for your participation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ani. Thank you, Luís, for hosting.
Thank you, Luís.
Thanks to all of you. Good to see you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.